Hello, VDL people. This is the power rankings for the VDL V Create. This is post week. What we just had week 4 matches. Um, that were the battles. The battles were a little crazy. So we're going to talk about them. I have Gurt here.
Hello, the Bambinos of the Video Nation.
So I guess as usual, we'll hop into the matches. We'll try to go into detail about kind of what happened, some things we liked, some interesting tech that we might have seen or and stuff like that, and then we'll proceed to quickly go through our top 24. And we have some changes obviously this week. This is so week 4, so we're halfway through the season. This is when you really start to get an idea of the back half of your schedule, what wins that
Form.
do you need, and the playoff race really begins here.
Yeah, it's about to get spicy.
Oh yeah. So the first 2 matches are our matches. So I guess I'll talk about my match against the Drowsy Dracozolt. I took the set 2-1 overall. It was a bit of I thought it was a fun set, a really fun set, but it was also it was weird. Like looking back on it, it was sort of a weird match. So, the Dracozolts have a really, really weird team to prep for because they have a really good trick room mode, but they also have speed swap shenanigans they can do, and they have a pretty decent fast mode. I think their trick room mode looks like better on paper, I guess, but they're really weird to prep for in terms of speed control.
I've been learning that the hard way this week.
What's that?
I've been learning that the hard way this week. I've got them.
Oh,
Week 5.
yeah. They were a lot. They're weirder. It's not like you can just bring trick room counters against them, or just like deny trick room and then or prep for that, or I don't. It's they've got a good team, and against my team they picked up the Gastrodon. So yeah, that was an additional thing I had to prep for, which was kind of it was a little it was hard. It was hard to prep for. So game 1, I went with my plan. Oops, I'm gonna cancel that. I went with my plan with the Belly Drum Polyrath. I think I played it decently well. The Rotom fan was a big problem, but with the rain speed control that I had and the attack power of the Polyrath, I was able to put a lot of pressure on it and take game 1. So then game 2,
4, wasn't it?
it was a 4-0. And so this match was like a complete roller coaster because I 4-0 game 1. I'm feeling great. I'm like, okay, game 1 out of the way. I'm up. I just need to secure one more win. What do? I lead the same thing. And then I make sort of, in my opinion, a classic Tyran Tartar Sauce's mistake. This is something I do all the time and it bites me. I prep for this situation. I throw out the Polyrath and the Polytoad. The Dracozolts know that the biggest threat against him is me setting up the Belly Drum. I know that he can double into me, and I prepped for this. And I said, okay, if he knows I'm going for it, I need to switch out the Polyrath. I can't just give it up. And then what do? I just say, screw it. I'm just going to Belly Drum. See what happens. Well, what happens is I give up my Polyrath turn 1. I get nothing out of my turn 1, and I essentially give up the game turn 1 just because I prepped for the situation and I didn't follow my plan, and then he 4-0s me. So I 4-0 him game 1. He 4-0s me game 2. And it's crazy. And then game 3 was pretty wild. I was really nervous about the Moltres set I brought. I didn't even... I was really, really unsure about it. And there were tons of things I was changing about it. I went with the substitute Nasty Plot, kind of playing with the Shell Bell, which was really weird, but I kind of wanted to try it out. And I barely pulled it out against the Nasty Plot Rotom, which was extremely hard for my team to deal with. I think the Dracozolts kind of had me pinned, but they went for the Air Slash into the Polyrath instead of the Thunderbolt, which I think they had no reason not to Thunderbolt. But so I don't know what happened, but essentially that misclick or that misplay kind of allowed me to win because I don't think I had a way out if he took out the Polyrath right there. I was like max special defense, so maybe he didn't expect that. I don't know, but I think he sort of deserved to win game 3. So kind of a roller coaster of a set. I sort of gave away game 2 really stupidly, and then the Dracozolts misplayed and kind of gave me game 3. So it was a bit of weird of a set. It was, I don't know. I don't really know what to take away from it exactly, except for me and Masenko need to stop making bad decisions because um, I just luckily pulled away with game one. But yeah, so that's kind of what happened with the set. But and the road time was vicious. But I don't know. And anything you want to add on that match?
Um, no, not really. I thought, yeah, game two was kind of lost very early on, so you kind of made it last a little longer than you tried to like do what you could, obviously, but yeah, it was kind of lost very early on. Um, but yeah, game three was kind of wild, but managed to clutch out a win, so well done to you.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'm just gonna accept the 2-1 and forget about the match. But the next match it was yours, so I guess you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it was my own. It was up against Sam and the Sussex Sableyes. I know that Sam's a very good player, obviously finalist last season. So even though he was 0-3, I was going into this very much expecting a tough game. I kind of recognized in the matchup that Skarmory was very good for me. He didn't really have much to break it other than Spectre. So I had a lead planned with my Galvantula, Scarf Galvantula, and I could Electro Web his Spectre down and kill it with whatever I had next to it. But I was EV'd because I was Scarf. I didn't need much speed. I was EV'd to live a modest Shadow Ball as long as it was unboosted by like Life Orb or Specs. And game one, I found out turn one that he definitely was Specs, or he could have been Spell Tag, but I'm assuming it was Specs. Because he faked out my Galvantula and just blew it away turn one, and that made things very difficult. But I managed to get in my Skarmory and Trick Room up, start setting up, and managed to reverse what looked like a very bad situation. Game one for Skarmory to get 4 kills and clutch out game one. I ended up losing the set 2-1. Games 2 and 3, what I found was is more a mistake in my prep than in the game. I think that I disregarded Crawdon as even coming, and that thing just really put the pressure on my Cresselia and Blaziken. And I just didn't have a lot of outs versus it because I didn't even bring body press on my Skarmory. Like my only attack was Iron Head, so I just wasn't really doing too much to it. Yeah, I don't really know. I think game 3 I could have maybe clutched out. There was a turn where I Flare Blitzed into a Nidoqueen that protected, and in game 2 I thought he's not going to allow that to happen again, so I didn't target it with Blaziken. I took out the Persian, and then Nidoqueen stayed in and just killed my Primarina, and I think that's where game 3 was lost. I should have just targeted the Nidoqueen again, but yeah, it was a good set. I think like game 1 alone was worth it because that was such a cool like game. But yeah, well done to Sam. Definitely outplayed me. Definitely outprepped me. I think most of my I think the game was lost on my prep more than my playing, honestly. But yeah, we finish 3-1 at the halfway point. So still pretty happy where I am.
I would be, yeah. I mean, yeah, you've been pretty. I thought it was a really close set, and I'm in love with the Skarmory sets you've been bringing. It makes me so happy to see. I was thinking about it, and I think you might like thus far in the season. I think you've gotten the most value out of a single tier. It's a tier 5, right?
Yeah,
I think you probably have gotten the most value out of a tier 5 Pokemon.
it's my second highest kill leader. I think my Prim's got 10, and then Skarmory's got 8.
Yeah, for like tier 5 to be as good as you've been using it, like I just don't know that anyone else is using a tier 5 that effectively. But I don't know. Well, maybe I'm missing some others. But yeah, as I was watching your match, I just noticed like you kept talking about the Crawdon being a problem, and the more I thought about it, I was like, man, that Crawdon really is a problem for your team since you didn't have the body press, and the Aqua Jet is super good against the Blaziken. Like, yeah, it was just that was hard to deal with.
And what I actually found out after the match, I was convinced he either played a very good bluff or he just happened to not change moves. I thought it was banded. Games 1 and 2, I thought it was banded. So I thought Cress was safe in front of it because he had clicked Aquajet the previous turn. And then he turned out to have knockoff and just go for the knockoff. So I found out game 3 he wasn't banded, and he was actually Assault Vest.
Oh, wow.
And he'd made it so it would live a Moonblast from Prim if I was -1 from the Snarls that he was throwing off of Persian. So yeah, it was very good set on his end.
That's some good prep. I guess we can move on to the next game then, or the next
Yeah.
match. Welsh Warlords, they take the 2-0 over Sting Like a Rabombi. I I did watch this match. I wasn't able to. I didn't catch. I caught bits and pieces of it essentially. Um, and like looking at the matchup, yeah, the Wailords have been using the Tapu Fini with the Steelix really well, and I was thinking about how good of a combo that is, and it's pretty nice combo. And the Steelix, like with having access to body press, makes it really hard to deal with for Batista, and the Tapu Fini is obviously just hard to deal with. And then he can deal with the fake out by leading double inner focus with tailwind setup and things like that. I think the Wailords have a really strong team, and I think they utilize it really well against Batista. And I think Batista said this was going to be a tough matchup for him, and he had to essentially prep and play near perfect to have a chance.
Yeah. I liked what Matrix did in his prep with like the Misty Seed Steelix, like with the Spadef boost as well. It's incredibly bulky and just very hard for Batista to break. Like it was living focus blasts from the Zorak, like pretty comfortably with the +1 in Spadef. And I think Batista said that like the 4 Mons, he just never had a chance of breaking it. He was talking about it before the game. He's like, if he brings these 4, I really don't think I'm going to win, and that's what happened.
So, I mean, good job for Matrix to understand what 4 Mons he needed to bring, or what the sets that would be really good against Batista's team, and he found the weakness and.
Yeah, it was pretty comprehensive. I think it was like, I can't remember if it was in which order, but a 3-0 and a 4-0. So Batista managed to pick up 1 KO in the set. So props to Matrix.
Yeah, pretty dominant gameplay. Not looking forward to. I have to face him this upcoming week, and I'm not looking forward to it.
The Finny,
my nemesis. Oh, I'm terrified. Well, so I guess the next match, the Trixie Tricos take the 2-0 over the Manitans. I don't know if I watched game 2, to be honest. At least I don't remember what happened, but I do remember game 1. The Tricos just went for the setup, the Calm Mind Latias, and it was pretty hard to deal with for the Manitans.
Yeah. I think game 2, he set up the Thunderous instead. I think it got a nasty plot off. And
oh, you're right. Yeah, and that thing.
So he just got his.
Sorry, go ahead.
Like once he got the plot off, it was pretty difficult. Like, I think the Manitans were trying to get in Pikachu every time, but like also just knew that was coming every time and managed to just take it out with something else before he needed to throw off the electric moves.
And I can't remember. Did it have discharge?
Oh yeah, discharge, yeah.
So you can get around it a little bit with that. And he was just straight up discharging it, like wounding his own Latias, but he was like, I don't care. I can calm mind.
Yeah.
I'm not taking that much damage. Yeah, that was hard for the Manitans to deal with. So,
but they've made a slew of changes after that match.
The Manitans?
Yeah, they used all 4 of their trades in 1 hit.
Oh wow, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I think they're probably thinking, well, we haven't had the best start, so we need some changes to get something going. So I feel like when you have Celesteela, you can utilize that Mon and just really put pressure on your opponent, whether it's a Stally set or a Beast Boost type of offensive oriented Celesteela. But it just hasn't been enough to carry his team, I think.
No.
He needs more. Yep, so another win for the Tricos. Another loss, unfortunately, for Taco and the Manitans.
He's not the only one, though, that are struggling.
No, he's not. The Arcanines have been struggling at the beginning of the season. I know. I've seen some of Dan's other play, and he can definitely play. And he just hasn't been able to pull out some wins. He's taken games, but no sets yet. So the Alexandria Arcanines go down 1-2 to the Somerville Scraggies. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened in this match. I remember the Scraggies. They utilized the Slow King with the Blizzard to kind of counter the the Latios and the Rillaboom. Because the Arcanines have the Vanilluxe, so he can get these 100% accurate Blizzards if he ends up going with the Hail mode. Um, and it was a smart strat because the Hail mode is really strong for the Arcanines. Like that, the Arctivish and Vanilluxe was really hard for me to prep for, and it was the Arctivish. I just really like. I think it's a really valuable Pokemon, especially in its tier.
Budget Vish.
Budget Vish, it's so good. And the access to you can go Fish's Friend or you can go Icicle Crash, and they're both really strong. One gives you a nice flinch if you're faster, and Fish's Friend is just powerful. So I like those options. And then you can go special with Freeze Dry. I don't know. I really like how he's using that Mon. I really like the Mon in general.
I think this might have been the only game I haven't seen of the ones available.
I do like. I'm trying to remember what happened in the earlier games, but I remember knowing that I think the Rillaboom was. I don't think it was scarfed. I can't remember what it was. But it didn't have Fake Out, probably because the Indeedee, and I don't think it even had. I don't think it had Grassy Glide, which I like the move there to go for that because you don't want to deal with because Rillaboom in Psychic Terrain is pretty underwhelming. Like you can't, your Grassy Glide is not priority. You can't use Fake Out. Right, yeah. And instead of fighting for that terrain control to be effective, he just said, "Nah, I'm just gonna make a different Rillaboom set." And so I like the decision to do that. But the Scraggy's getting a lot of value out of the Stoutland, which is just not a Pokemon that you think would be so effective in a draft. Like I think it's a really good Pokemon overall. But
Stoutland and Giglith are just awesome together.
Oh yeah, and I know this is not the first time the Scraggies have used that. I've always wanted to try Stoutland Tyranitar. Stoutland Gigalith is it's so good because, I mean, I don't know. There's many reasons.
I think I may have caught some of this game. I saw he had gravity on the Gigalith.
I think he
did.
He
was trying something with gravity. I remember seeing in chat as well. He said he didn't get it off and it went to waste. But he was trying something tricky there, which would have been cool to see.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember and I remember seeing that during the match. I'm thinking, what is this gravity for? But I can't remember what he had. I know most people use it with like a hypnosis Pokemon, but I can't remember what other techs he might have had that. Yeah, I can't remember. But
go ahead.
I mean, I guess it could be used to lower the Latios, because gravity also makes airborne mons. Puts them on the ground. That. But I don't know what that does for him either.
I'm sure he'll let us know.
Yeah, it's a mystery to me for now.
But Tyler's been doing very well. Got some big wins over some of our big players.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, and so moving on to the next one, was that our premier match between the Binacles and the Pretzels.
This match was awesome.
Yeah, it was a good game.
And I love.
It's kind of.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The the face off between all the different sharks and fish. There's Chomp and Sharpedo and Barraskewda.
Yeah, teethy fish kind of Pokemon. That was the ultimate testament to it.
I think both sides were a little bit surprised with what the opponent brought. I don't think Theo really expected the Sharpedo at all. He had a plan pretty much revolving around rain to counter the Tailwind, so that Barraskewda would be the fastest thing on the field, pretty much. Which I thought was a nice tech. The Hitmonlee set was very cool with the rain dance. But Sharpedo he was just giving Sharpedo free reign, and after a couple of speed boosts, it was matching the Barraskewda. And Gumi managed to pick up the set 2-1. So I think Gumi took game one a little bit not comfortably, but Theo adapted very well for game two.
Yeah, and I
try to remember how.
Because it was hard, because I know the Barraskewda was doing a lot of damage. Just a flip turn in the rain was doing 80% on the Thunder or the Tornado side, I think, if I recall correctly. But it really was a difficult match in regards to speed because if you leave a Sharpedo alone, which I think it had Sash, so you had to hit it. But if you leave it alone, it's just going to get speed boosts. And then I think at +1 and in Tailwind, it's going to be
Yeah.
faster than Barraskewda in Rain. So maybe that was part of Gumi's plan. But and the Sharpedo was doing a lot of damage too. But it kind of put pressure on the Binacles to get this Barraskewda in a really good position so that it can do damage. Because if it's not in good position, it can get knocked out pretty easily. I think the Life Orb Garchomp Stomach Tantrum just OHKO'd at game 2.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that just shows how it is literally a glass cannon. But, I mean, it can do a lot of damage. I thought the Glaceon put on a ton of pressure, and I like that the Binacles recognized that in the matchup. And they started leading it, I think, or just getting in a position where it was really hard for the Pretzels to deal with, especially with Freeze Dry, because, Freeze Dry probably OHKO's Garchomp. It probably OHKO's like pretty much, Garchomp, Tornadus, and Sharpedo. I mean, barring the Sash, but so I really like that bring.
I mean, when Gumi goes on about Tornchomp so often, Glaceon always sounds good.
Yeah, that's true.
But during the premiere in the chat, we came up with the new name for the combo Gumi likes to use. The Sharpedo, the Garchomp, and the Tornadus is now Shargarnado.
Shargarnado.
That's the new combo. It's not Tornchomp anymore.
Those sci-fi films are so awful, yet
The Sharknado.
yet everybody knows Sharknado. So it's crazy how bad those films are, but they're popular. Well, I mean, everybody can reference it. Everybody knows it. I knew you were gonna say that. Once you said there's a new name, I was like, what could it be? Oh, it's got to be something with Sharknado. And he's got it. That's cool. I really liked. It was just an enjoyable match to watch. I think if the Binacles didn't accidentally switch out the Glaceon game 3, they would have been in a way better position. And I don't know if they would have came away with the win, but it seemed like they would have had a better chance, much better chance. So I don't know. We'll never know, I guess.
It certainly didn't help.
But I really liked how they were using the Glaceon, and I really like seeing the Sharpedo do well, because I think it's one of my favorite Pokemon. And I think
is Carl.
Oh no, you're good.
Is Sharpedo a tier 5?
I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is.
Tier 5's doing work.
Tier 5's doing work. Just have to use them correctly, or use them. Identify what situations they're good in. It has put in a lot of work this season. I don't know if it's quite Skarmory tier, but it's been doing work. I guess this next game, the Royal Kingdras 2-0'd Rebellion, and Rebellion was doing pretty well this season so far. But yeah, the Kingdras they're kind of feeling hot. I think they beat the Bashers last week, and now they beat Rebellion with a 2-0.
Yeah.
So they're
certainly
looking good.
Pulled it back. They were I think they were 0-2 up to that point. Are they 2-2 now?
Yeah.
Are they? Yeah. So yeah, they've pulled it back. I think I didn't know what was going on with Lucian. His video, his graphic had Guja and Vaporeon on it, but then he was like, "Oh, I didn't mean to bring Thwacky," and then he's like, "Where's my Guja?" So I don't know which of the three weren't supposed to come. I guess Thwacky, but yeah, he brought the wrong team. He said he made the team right at the beginning of the week, because we had the 2-week period, right, for Christmas, for week 4.
Mm-hmm.
He made the team really early on, and then made changes on mobile, but then didn't when he gen them. So he had the wrong team, he was off to a bad start.
Yeah,
from the off.
I remember seeing that. And I think the Arcanine was the wrong set too, or something. So yeah, he didn't. And but props to Lucian for saying, because he said that. He brought the wrong team. He had some really spicy tech for this set he wanted to bring out, but he didn't reveal it. He just said, I didn't bring this tech, so I'm just going to deal with it, and I guess we'll bust it out another week. So I don't quite know what it is. Maybe it's something with the Gudra. We don't know. But yeah, unfortunate bring. I think the Kingdras, I guess they capitalized on that mistake, and they just kind of played. I don't remember the match exactly, but I feel like they played pretty dominantly. Um, the Registeel was just impossible to get through, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he's been using the register really well. I think
Yeah, and it's just one of those.
it's almost like a good Skarmory.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like a grounded Skarmory. It's a Skarmory gumball machine. The it's one of those mons, dude. It's like it's I don't want to say linear, but it's sort of like a one trick type of Pokemon, and it's not really.
I
It
mean,
can do more things than that than just Iron Defense Body Press, but that just because you know what it's gonna do, most likely, doesn't mean you could stop it.
yeah, I mean, it kind of is a one-trick pony, but you also have to respect it. You can't not bring stuff for it because it will just wall you out.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to plan for it. Just like Blissey on Lucian's side, he's gotten away with some games where he just identifies that his opponent doesn't have a counter here for Blissey, or maybe they have one counter and then he gets rid of it, and then Blissey just feels incredibly hard to deal with, and it just wins games by walling its opponents. Um, but good job by the Kingdras. Yeah, I can't remember all the details of this match, unfortunately. But the Kingdras,
No, I'm trying to think who else the Kindred used. I think no, I can't. All I can remember is Registeel.
I feel like they. I don't even know. I don't want to take a guess because I don't want to sound like an idiot and be completely
I
wrong.
pull up the report real quick here. Reuniclus and Scrafty as well.
Yeah, he's been doing the Reunicus. I think he did this set as well. He's been doing like the Reunicus Scrafty lead, and which actually I really like it because Reuniclus is like it is like a setup. It could be decently bulky if you EV it that way, and it's a great trick room setter, and it's got I don't know. But then again, you can run Magic Guard Life Orb and stuff like that. Like it's very, very powerful as well. So you can just launch off attacks instead, and it's a big threat. So it's not just
I
like
think that
this.
is what he did. He just like went for the fake out Trick Room, um, and then Lucian had like Regieleki, which is obviously completely useless in the Trick Room. Like not very bulky, and then going to be the slowest thing in Trick Room. And Reuniclus and Scrafty just managed to sweep up early. They got both the kills in game one by the looks of it, and then Reg still did the work in game two.
And then like just trying to deal with that lead, and then you got to worry about a Registeel in the back. Like it's kind of a pain in the
Yeah,
butt.
you can't like waste all your resources on the Trick Room mode, and then Register will just come out and I've got nothing left for that.
Yep. And if he can get it out while Trick Room's still up, then he can have, he's pretty slow, so he can set up defenses before you can attack him.
Yeah,
That's kind of a nightmare. I know. I think we've talked previously about them having sort of a weird team, but I I don't know. I don't think it's all that weird, and I think they're utilizing it really well. Like they're utilizing their tools really well. And the Scrafty, Reuniclus, Registeel is just crazy good. Have been crazy good this season.
yeah.
But Rebellion's gonna triple, quadruple check his sets next week and try to get a win, try to pull into a winning record position. And it's hard to deal with. I always fear doing that, so I get so anxious and then I paranoid and I just check my sets like over and over and over again, make sure every ability is correct, every attack right before that I go into the battle, just because I know that'll happen to me one day, and I don't want it to.
I've definitely done it before.
So this next match, Shenandoah Sun Warriors take on the Norwegian Darmanitans.
I did watch this one. Chad streamed it. It was quite an interesting set. We know Glopsy is a great player, obviously a previous champ, but he's just not managed to get the ball rolling so far this season. And I really thought he was going to do it this week. Did you see this one?
I did. I remember. I'm trying to think of what I remember. I remember the weakness policy. I think special Metagross.
Yeah, they had like the brutal swing Tornadus next to the weakness policy Metagross.
Yeah, which was really nice. And these were really close games, if I can
Yeah,
remember correctly. I know.
I think the Nidoking was just putting on so much pressure
Oh yeah.
because it had like obviously the ground coverage for like Incineroar, like Rock and Metagross, and then it had Ice Beam for Hippowdon and Tornadus. It was just Jellicent was kind of the only thing that was able to take a hit from the Nidoking.
Yeah, and if you can't, like, I mean, obviously the Metagross can go for the Psychic move into the Nidoking, and I mean that's kind of how you deal with Nidoking. Essentially, is you just have to get rid of it because it's decently frail, but it just with the sheer force it can just launch off so much damage and it has such good coverage. Um, but yeah, I mean, I remember Game 3. He was just kind of leaving the Metagross on the field. The Warriors were, and they just got rid of everything else. And then at the end of the game, they just brought out the Nidoking, and they're like, okay, time to Earth Power and win. So
Yeah.
I think they understood was kind of their key to their matchup is like if they just save Nidoking, it can always take out that Metagross at the end.
Yeah, I think the Sun Warriors adapted well for Game 3 as well by bringing the Ninetales. That it removed the sand chip that was getting to their team and threatened the Metagross as well, which I think made a difference in Game 3.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I like that. I like how he doesn't really have like does he have anyone with chlorophyll or anything on his team? He doesn't like have a sun mode, does he?
um,
But I like how he's used the Ninetales. So he's brought it quite a
yeah,
bit.
I'm not sure if he has got any Sun abusers.
But he has utilized it really
Oh,
effectively.
he's got his Exeggutor actually.
Oh, he's got Exeggutor. Okay. I like Exeggutor because you can go like Trick Room mode or you can do chlorophyll stuff. It's kind of nice. And you're 4 times weak to bug, but like who cares? Unless you're playing Batista's team from a few seasons ago, you don't really care.
Yeah.
But the Darmanitans, I really like watching their games. Unfortunately, they haven't pulled out any wins, at least as far as sets go this season. I really like watching their games though because they have a bulky, pivoty type of team, which it seems like that's what they're going for, and I like that style of play, especially in Series 10. Yeah, so I enjoy watching their sets. And then I think the Sun Warriors, I think I said this last week, but they just seem like they have a team that's like when you're prepping and when you're playing against them, it seems like they're a team that's it's hard to be super confident against them. They don't seem like they have a team that's just going to dominate like 2-0 every week, but they have a team that always has a chance to win the set.
Yeah, I feel like their team's kind of it's a lot of like, oh, I guess it's not really. There's some real like meta picks there with the Lele, and the Umbreon as well. Umbreon's super good in S10.
Mm-hmm. I was debating getting Umbreon this season. I really wanted to, it's probably my favorite evolution, and I think it's so good, and it adds some nice bulk to his team.
Yeah, and being able to just snarl stuff down and like kill off the damage.
Yeah, and it can always like foul play if it really needs to. If someone's going for like, it can punish people for going for swords dances and things like that. Yawn, super annoying. God, I just love that mon. But congrats to the Sun Warriors picking up the big win. I hopped in the stream at the very end after the match was over. I was a little sad, but I went back and watched it, and it was a good set. So you wanna talk about this next match?
Sure, yeah. The Poggin Porygons versus the Brisbane Blazekins. At the time, the Porygons were unbeaten, but they managed to give it up to the Blazekins, who won 2-0. Blazekins have been looking really strong, I think, and the core of like the Firewater Grass core plus Clefable it's been super strong. Rotombo, Entei, Blastoise plus Clefable. I think the Entei in this set was Choice Band. I want to say.
I think that was was it? No, I think it was last week.
Or was that the week before? Oh, was it?
But the Entei was super good this week.
Yeah, game 1, the Entei I think picked up every kill.
It's like I completely agree with what you're saying. I was thinking about that. I was actually rewatching that match earlier today, and I completely agree with what you're saying. Like the Rotom, Blastoise, Entei, and the Clefable is just disgusting. And then when you factor in that you could switch one of those out for like the Duraludon, it's just such an annoying core to deal with. They have there's inner focus, there's fake out, there's just a lot of tools you can utilize, not to mention they're all bulky and they can all do damage. And, I mean, Emma could message... or
Levitate as well.
Yeah. Blazekins could literally message you before your match and be like, hey, I'm only bringing 4 Mons, and it's these 4. and you still won't have, like... It'll still be challenging.
Good plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm one who thinks that, like, I like the idea of cores. I think the Firewater Grass core and the Fantasy core. I understand how they work. I don't think you have to have the greatest of those cores to be really useful or be effective. I don't even think you have to have type cores like that to. I don't know. I think they're, I guess, overrated. But I think the Blazikins make me believe, like, they have a really strong one that has been so effective, that I think it's sort of, I don't know. It's making me believe a little bit.
I think it's just having the times 4 resist to electric for Blastoise and the levitate for the Entei. It adds a bit more to the core than just a normal fire or grass core.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. I think something that we've said previously is that kind of, I mean, the Blazekins have electric and grass on their team, but it's within one Pokemon, so they kind of put all their eggs in one basket as far as taking on water types. But I think Duraludon's pretty decent against water types, and I think Blastoise can tank hits from him. I think they have other tools to deal with those. But I didn't even think about that until now. The Levitate really helps out with the core, as well as the 4 times electric resist. That's actually kind of insane. And even though they have like a bulkier team, and a team that relies a lot less on speed control, they don't need it because they have bulky Pokemon with great typings. Like, I think Duraludon's a great typing. They have redirection with a bulky Clefable, which can also do a decent amount of damage. I don't know. I really like how they're playing.
Yeah, like they've been using like Scarf Blastoise just to fire off big water spouts turn 1 and just like poke holes in the opposition before anything else really happens. As well as like just follow me water spout as well has been shown. But I think in this matchup, everyone, including Ems, it's like she was very surprised that they didn't bring the Suicune, which would have been good versus the Entei, maybe walled the Blastoise somewhat. They could just snarl it down and what have you. But yeah, I think the Suicune would have really helped the Porygons in this matchup.
I agree with that, and then you just kind of have to worry about the Rotom, but you can always you can always snarl it to deal with it easier.
And they've got the Cinderace that could have helped, like with the Rotom in that scenario, and the Magnezone, which
true.
Rotom doesn't really touch.
That's very true, actually. And the Magnezone ain't doing a whole lot to the Rotom, but it's probably doing more than the Rotom.
Rotom's doing back, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe, I mean, I think maybe the Duraludon was brought more for the Suicune because I think it was Assault Vested, right? Was it?
I don't remember.
I think it was, which I like that set, and it had Snarl, and it can't really get hit by Suicune very well, so maybe that was their plan. But they didn't have to deal with it, so they kind of just crushed with the Entei, and the Blastoise did well. So good job to the Blazikins. They took out an undefeated team, the Pogging Porygons, which are still looking pretty good. I like how they play. I like how the Porygons play. You can tell that they don't always just go for that obvious move. They make reads. They can envision an end game. But they just got outpowered this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. This next match, let's jump into it. It's the MK Mimikyus versus the Bolton Bashers. You want to start off talking about this one?
Yeah, I watched this one just yesterday, actually. I think the MK Mimikyu's Yash played really well. I think like turn 1, like it was quite like, I don't know, risky because you risk Guma had the Zapdos, Galar, and the Dugtrio. You not only risk like the Sucker Punch from Dugtrio, you also risk like potential Scarfs. But the Mimikyu just went straight for the Fling with the Salic Berry Whimsicott into the Weakness Policy Chandelier, which was an insane tech. And just going for it turn 1, I think was pretty brave of them. Because you risk, like I say, you risk the Scar from Zapdos. Just going for damage. But yeah, they played well and managed to pick up a strong wing versus Goomer.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that tech was kind of gave them the win for a couple reasons here. One, because it just wasn't an obvious, straightforward play, and it gave them a weakness policy chandelier, which is dishing out so much damage, and essentially gave them it put them in a nice position a lot of the time. I think the Heatmore missing the overheat really hurt the Bashers.
Yeah.
But especially because I mean, with the fling tech, he knew that the Whimsicott didn't have sash, so. But I also think there were a couple chances, like the Mimikyus were playing really well. Like they were reading a couple of Goomer's turns, like 2 or 3 times in a row, and they they were just making optimal plays, which they kind of had to do with their offensive team, and so they were making really good calls. So props to them for doing that, and doing that against Goomer, who can sometimes bring wild sets, and it's hard to predict what he's going to bring, and then. And Goomer had bounced this idea off me previously. He said, the Chandelier could be a problem, but the Helping Hand, Life Orb, Sucker Punch, and the Heatmore should take it out. And so he went for that game 3. When I watched his video and I saw him go for that, I just thought, oh my gosh, this is GG's. Goomer's going to win this. Take out the Chandelier turn 1. It's over. And then the Mimikyus don't go for the fling. And the Sucker Punch doesn't take out the Chandelier because the Chandelier was bulky. Since it was getting that Salic boost, it probably wasn't max speed. It was bulky. And so it lived the Sucker Punch, and then it didn't get hit by the fling. And that just put Goomer in such a horrible position game 3. He essentially lost it on the turn 1. But I guess that's what you do.
The Sucker also activated the policy.
Yep. And
didn't need to fling.
So it was a super, and I don't think he had revealed the Sucker Punch in the Heatmore thus far. So I think it was really safe to go for. And I liked the move by Goomer, but he didn't expect the Chandelier to be. I think it was probably max HP. Because at max HP, the Chandelier had a 50% chance to live the Sucker Punch. So. Yeah, that it was only possible because the Mimikyus went with that Salic Berry bulky Chandelier strat, and it ended up working out, and they pulled it out over Goomer. Props to them, big win. I think the Mimikyus are a really good team.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of 3-1 teams now.
Yeah, they're really hard to rank.
So our next game was the Los Angeles Infinapes versus the Georgia Gurchins. And one of our 2 remaining unbeaten teams, the Gurchins, managed to win at 2-1 versus the Infinapes, who haven't picked up a win yet, but they pick up a game here versus an unbeaten team, which fair play to them. Trying to think about this game.
So I know that the Infernapes had a hard time dealing with the Inteleon, which I don't know if it was revealed during the match, but what was said was that or at least assumed was that the Inteleon was scope lens with the snipe shot, which
it was getting a lot of crits.
Yeah, which the snipe shot can get around the follow me Togekiss. If
of course, yeah.
So that was a nice bring, and then it has that crit chance. And with sniper, that's doing a lot of damage. You're essentially getting, it's stronger than essentially a super effective hit. With those sniper crits. So if he's getting crits, he's just doing a lot of damage. I think crit Inteleon with the sniper is an absolute monster when it can get going. Like in Dynamax format, I think it's very underrated, but it was cool to see it used in Series 10, to see it used here. The Infernapes did take, I think they took game 2. Game 1, I like how they were just going for things to gain information because they thought it was going to be a tough matchup, and they said, I'm going to take game 1, not put all my eggs in one basket, more just try to get information, try to pull it out to game 2 and 3. I like that sort of approach. And they did pull it out game 2 with the slightly bulkier Dragapult I think he was talking about. It was more bulky as opposed to just offensive. And then I think the Gurchins just end up playing really well game 3 and clutching it out, and with the Inteleon, and I forget what else they brought exactly.
They had Zapdos, which had Sunny Day and Heat Waves, and next to the Porygon 2 with Solar Beam to take out the Regirock.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was a really nice tech.
Yeah, that happened game 1, which I thought was cool. Game 2, I can't even remember how King Sosa got into the game, because you look at the matchup here for Dragapult, Inteleon probably carry an Ice Beam, Porygon 2 not easy for Dragapult to break, and Mawile there resisting, immune to the stab, but I can't remember how they got into the game, but they did manage to pick up that win.
They
before game 3.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what happened in the middle of the match. I know that what happened to the Infernapes? Something happened because I know he was talking about he was getting some bad luck, but he tried to
Oh,
make.
wait. Come on, Carol. Sorry, I just remembered what happened in game 3.
But I know there was a moment where the Infernapes tried to read a roost from the
Yeah,
Zapdos.
that's what I was talking about. Yeah,
That happened in game three.
yeah, that was huge. I think that swung the momentum of game 3 because yeah, like he hit it with a rock slide and then it roosted. So, and then he hit another rock slide, obviously not doing as much. So then he thought they were going to roost again and went for the earthquake, whereas another rock slide probably would have picked up the KO on
Oh,
Zapdos.
so you think it was less of a? You think it was just a miss, like a? Do you think the Rockslide would have killed without, with the roost?
No, not with the roost. No. Without the roost, because Zapdos ended up going for like a heat wave or a discharge or something.
Oh, so there was like a big 50-50 moment.
Yeah,
And I actually like that sort of read by the Infernapes. Like that's something I would go for, just because you got to be thinking you're like if you're a Zapdos that like there's no way he makes that read and goes for the earthquake. You got to be thinking there's a very small chance that he goes for that, but so he didn't go for the roost, and Infernapes try to go for the read. They don't get it. I don't know. Do you think that would have swung the game three?
I honestly do. Yeah, I remember thinking at the time. I can't remember the exact details now, but I remember thinking at the time, like you would have been in such a good position had you made that read correctly.
That's just oh man, that's the game threes we like to see where they're just intense and they come down to a couple moves and a couple reads.
And I think like the Infinites completely like vindicated in that read. I think because they're 0-3. This is the first time they're looking at taking a set in a game 3 and go for it. I think in those scenarios.
Yeah,
So yeah,
and I think
just unlucky.
yeah they were the Infernapes have been like they haven't picked up a win yet, but I can just see that they're I think from what I understand is they've been historically a singles player. I don't know.
All
I
right.
don't know the Infernapes that well, but I think I remember hearing that they're more of a singles player, and so they're adjusting to the doubles. And I like how they're playing, and they're getting better and better. And they almost squeaked it out against an undefeated team. So that just shows that the Infernapes being 0-4, I still think they can compete. Um, and it was good to see him pick up a game.
Yep, for sure.
Really good match to watch. So our last match was the South Croton Soars against the Luxury Uxie. Oh wait, it's the
Yeah,
luxury.
our new
Oh,
replacement team.
okay. For some reason, maybe I was reading too fast. I was like, I thought it was kind of goofy because I thought their name was the Luxray Uxie, and I was like, okay, so I guess their team name is just two Pokemon, like the Sceptile Arcanines. I mean, I just thought it was goofy, but that's how I was reading it. Okay, this makes a lot more sense. I like it either way, but this makes more sense. It's the luxury Uxie. Okay, cool. And
I didn't see this game.
I remember seeing. So it was actually really interesting. I at least remember seeing the beginning of it, and the Croton Soars they led the Indeedee with the Pheromosa, and the luxury Uxie lead Urshifu Riolu. And unfortunately for the Uxie, what happened is the Croton Soars just go for an Electro Web. Oops, I clicked something. But they go for an Electro Web, and then they go for like an Expanding Force. I don't know if it was Scarfed Indeedee. I can't remember. It may have been Scarfed. But they go for the Expanding Force, and then they just blast and just get a double KO right
Yeah.
off the bat. So really, really bad for the Luxury Uxie turn one. But what was super interesting, and I can't remember if someone was, maybe it was the Croton Source commentary, but they were saying if that Urshifu was actually scarfed, that could have been actually huge for the Uxie because they would have outspeeded either of the Mons on the Crotonsaur's side, and they could have gotten a coaching surging strikes off and easily taken out either one of them. So they could have gone
Mm.
for probably the Indeedee would be the smartest play. So they could probably just KO that Indeedee right away and then deal with the Pheromosa later maybe. So I don't know. But it wasn't scarfed. So, but I was thinking about that. Like, man, I wonder if this thing's scarfed. That could be huge. But that's the only thing I remember from watching from the match. It was pretty dominant game one win, and then man, I don't even know.
Game 2. I'm just looking at the match report, and Wishy Washy got 3 kills. for the sores.
I don't remember what happened. I know he's been using that wishy-washy. I wonder if they went for the trick room mode, which has been really good for him.
Yeah, they did have Comfy as well, so possibly.
Comfey wishy-washy I think it's a really, really good combo. I'm seeing that, and I like that the Croydon stores are using it. Like, I didn't realize it was that strong of a combo. But
Yeah, no, nor did I.
They're making me believe. I guess that's all.
So that's all our games.
That's all the games. So I guess we can try to quickly go through the top 24, briefly talk about the teams, the records moving forward, and
We've had a lot of trades in this past week.
yeah,
Definitely some.
I haven't looked at them, but I know it seems like you have, so maybe you can elaborate on some of them. But
Here's the Manitans.
the Manitans are actually our 24th ranked team. And he made a lot of trades. We can see, and we can talk about those. But the reason they're 24th is because they just haven't had a great season. They haven't taken a game yet. So, unfortunately, sitting at 24.
I mean, they're not the only team that's not in four, to be fair, but I think
Yeah.
they haven't taken any games. They haven't gone to a game 3 yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've had a massive rejumble of their team. I can't remember exactly who they dropped, but now they've got Azumarill, because I played this team week 3, and I don't remember having to prep for Azumarill, Runerigus, Tangrowth, or Absol. Those are all new.
Yeah, I remember. I think didn't they have Kingdra previously? I think they
did have Kingdra, yeah.
I forget who else they had. I want to say they had
Araquanid.
Yeah.
They dropped Araquanid.
Yeah, I want to say they do have Araquanid. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the other ones, but I like how the team looks now. A little better. They have. Absol can be scary. Tangrowth with redirection. Azumarill can be scary if it gets set up. Huge power is always annoying. Cool. I like the changes.
Hopefully you can get something schmoovin'.
Yeah, hopefully. So we'll see what the Manitans can do week 5. Next team. LA Infernapes. Moving up from 24th because they kind of displayed that they can play. And they can... I don't know. We just felt like... I guess as the council as a whole felt like they... Even though they were lost and they were 24th, we kind of like how they played a little better, and they did have a chance at pulling out a set, and they went to game 3 against an undefeated team. So I think that should mean something. It looks like they've made some moves as well.
I'll quickly pull up the trade channel while I'm watching this.
I have a feeling they did because I don't think they previously had the Articuno, did they? Or the Quack? Did they have the Quagsire?
I don't think they have made trades.
Oh, they haven't?
No.
Oh, I thought they... I don't know. I don't remember them having the Articuno.
Oh, wait, no, yep, sorry. They dropped Lapras and Swoobat for Articuno and Quagsire.
Okay, cool. Cool. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't use Articuno and Quagsire much, so I guess we'll have to see what they can do. Yeah, they're trying to make trades, trying to turn their season around. Not a bad display of prep and play this week, but took another loss, so down at 23. I guess we can move on to 22. The luxury.
It's kind of tough because they took over a team that was 0-3, and I think they played pretty quickly after picking up the team. They made quite a few changes though as well. Where's their trades? Okay, so obviously when they took over, they were allowed to make 4 trades right off the bat, and they dropped Crustle, Raichu, Leafeon, and Alchemy, and picked up the Riolu, Mimikyu, Alolan Sandslash, and Diggersby. I think it's just adding a bit more power to the team there with Diggersby and Mimikyu.
Yeah, I don't think they had any... Like, they had the Torkoal previously, and I don't think it was doing a whole lot for the team. Torkoal in general is a good Pokemon, but I don't think it's synergized with the team as well, whereas I think the Ice Mode is a little better for this team, or having the Ice Mode option at least. And then we know that the Dracovish is always really good with the, a reliable Tailwind setter like Talonflame, so that's just another threat you have to deal with. And then, I liked they can go for coaching stuff with Riolu. So it's looking like a very scary team.
Yeah, I think Hacktress could be quite nightmarish alongside coaching.
Yeah, he's got a lot of mons he could probably utilize coaching with, and I guess that's the one knock I would give against it is this team is it does look very physically offensive, but I think it can also get away with being that way.
Yeah. I think Auroras is their only like main special attacker. You can run special Talonflame, but yeah.
Special Dracovic,
Yep.
water gun,
The new meta.
the new meta. We're evolving. Okay, I guess we'll move on to 21.
Norwegian Darmanitans. See, I really like their team. I'm just every week I watch them and hoping that they pull something off with it. Just because I like so many of the mons on their teams, I just personally love. Like Como, I really want to see that do amazingly well. But yeah, still unable to pick up a win. They've managed to pick up a few games along the way, which is why they're in the higher end of the Norton 4 teams. But yeah, just not managing to get that last little bit of luck or anything they need to pick up a win so far.
Yeah, I'm sort of baffled that they haven't gotten a win. Just looking at their team and knowing that they are a good player.
Yeah, it's really uncharacteristic for Kolobzia.
Yeah, definitely. And I think he has had very close sets. I think it's just been, he gets to the game 3 or he gets to the end of the game and then he just doesn't quite finish it out, and it's just happened, more than a few times. I agree, though. I want to see the Como do something. Maybe that's the key. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to check real quick. Okay, cool. Okay, we're going to move on to number 20. I think this is the top-rated 0-4 team. But
right,
they are an unexpected 0-4 team. I think we all expected this team to do a lot better than it has. And to Dan's credit, I think he's gotten some games not stolen from him, but I think he, with small adjustments, would have given him wins. Like small mistakes or just little and even some bad luck that just didn't go his way. Tough set against the Scraggies. I think the Scraggies had a good plan. And they were able to deal with, obviously Psychic Terrain's not good for Rillaboom, and they had the Blizzards, which was really annoying to deal with. But yeah, I guess I don't know much more to say. I don't have much more to say about this. I think they still have a really good team, and I still think they can have really good matchups and could go 4-4 to finish out the season.
Yeah,
but
I was about to say I totally believe that they can finish 4-4 from where they are.
Yeah,
I think the power of their schedule as well. They've really been put through the VDL gauntlet in the first 4 weeks.
They really have. They I said this last week too, but they've played Gumi and Otto more times collectively than I have, and this is my 4th season of the VDL. So, yeah, I would agree. Their schedule isn't as strong going forward, and I think. They have, I would say, out of the 0-4 teams, I'd give them the best chance to round out the season with, some big wins.
Yep. Agreed.
All right, number 19, the Drowsy Dracozolt. What do we think? I think it's a pretty appropriate for him.
Yeah, what are they 1-3 right now?
They are 1-3.
I'm gonna try and keep it that way this week, but I don't know. This team's really tricky to prepare for, honestly. Like you think, oh, it's just a bunch of Slaymons, but it's not. It's really not.
Yeah,
the Rumby and the Lopunny and
the
redirection.
A big problem for me facing them this week was, well, they could have very well walked away with a win. Like I could be 2-2 right now, and they could be 2-2. Like it could very well have gone that way. And the Lopunny was a bigger problem than I thought it would be for my team. And I don't know. I just think they do have a much better team than they were given credit for, and I think they play it really well. And they're able. It seemed like they analyzed the matchup against my team really, really well, and they understood what would be effective. I really want to see the Pangoro do work. I know it's like a hard mon to utilize, but I freaking love that Pokemon, and it was kind of shanked in the stats and typing department. I think. A little bit.
And then they just released their Shifu, and that was just a far
It,
superior version of this Pokemon.
oh yeah, yeah. So, but I still think it's really cool to use in draft, and it's just so freaking. Just look at it, it's so freaking cool. Um, yeah, but the Drake is all sitting down here just because they're 1-3, but they're only at a -2. So they have to definitely show that they can play, and they just haven't walked away with as many wins in this as far as sets go. So yeah, I guess we can move on to number 18. Sussex Sableyes with a big win.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that getting that win put them up. I can't remember where they placed last week, but yeah, definitely put them up from where they were. I don't know what to say. Yeah, they played really well this week. The prep and the play, I think, was just better than mine, and that's all I can say.
I think we said this last week that even though they were 0-3 last week, they didn't seem like they were playing like an 0-3 team.
Yeah.
And the Horsies, well, really the Spectre did really well this week. So, yeah.
You brought the Jigglypuff. I never brought it out. I really wanted to know what was on that Jigglypuff.
I think it's got some really interesting support moves. And you never know. It might just bust out a choice band play rough some week. So watch out. All right, number 17. We've got Rebellion. Rebellion started off pretty hot this season. I think he was 2-0, and now he's 2-2.
Yeah.
But I did bring the wrong set this week. I wonder what the match would have been like if he brought the set he wanted to. Still think he has a really strong team. You got to respect the Blissey and the Thwacky. We haven't seen what the Gudra can do, really. And I mean, it's the Rebellion logo Pokemon, so I'm assuming he knows how to utilize it and has some spicy tech and is ready to smoke some boots at some point with it. So,
yes, sir.
Yep. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
You can't ever count out Lucian, so
No, you can't. That's how I felt when I played Lucian in playoffs last year. It's just like there's just never a moment where I feel like I'm in a commanding position against him because I just never know what he's going to bust out. He's not afraid to take risks, not afraid, and I like that style of play because you can also get in your opponent's head being like that. So
he has actually made a trade that isn't on this. I'm just noticing.
Oh,
he's dropped that Cryogonal for Appleton.
Appleton, interesting. I'm trying to think why he would drop it for Appleton. I think Appleton's really cool. Not a Pokemon you see get a lot of usage. So
get some grassy glides off of it with that Thwacky partnership.
Ooh, maybe that's it. Maybe that's so. I don't know.
That's the tech.
Maybe we'll see. Or maybe he's gonna bait it. Maybe he's gonna bait that and he's gonna go for a Iron Defense body press. I have no idea. We'll see. We know Lucian is not afraid to bust out the wackiest stuff. So, all right, number 16, Shenandoah Sun Warriors. Nice win this week.
Yep.
The Luxray was a powerhouse. I love the balance of this team and how hard it is to take a look at, just to prep for everything it has, because it has 11 viable Pokemon. It's got double Intimidate. This is a super strong team. I think they just picked up the Corviknight, did they not?
Yeah, they dropped the Drifblim.
Okay. Maybe they just weren't getting enough value out of it, so they thought, and they didn't have a Steel type, so maybe that's what they're going for. I like that addition. Still got Tailwind coverage.
I do
too. I
think he super supports the Umbreon here, like having like fighting switch-ins with Lele and also Intimidate as well, just being able to do that, and now having the Fairy switch-in with, already had Ninetales, but now Corviknight obviously a more defensive mon.
Yeah, that's true. I really
and
like
I think
that.
Also like the Tailwinds off of Corviknight, you're quite likely to get it off of Corviknight with it being so bulky, and I think he hasn't got like a super fast team, but now with that Tailwind, like Drifblim, he was relying on a lot of Drifblim to get these Tailwinds off. Before this.
Yeah, and really, like, ideally, you have to throw that mon out with Lele to get that Tailwind.
Yeah.
Whereas Corviknight, maybe it doesn't have that in crazy speed stat with a Ghost typing, but it's just a bulky mon that can come out at any point in the game and set Tailwind. So, and I think that might be better for the Sun Warriors. They seem like they have them, like they don't play off of the turn one wins. They're not super hyper offense. They, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how this team does. Okay, number 15, Sting like a Rabombi. Let's see. Did they?
Made trades as well, yeah.
They did make trades.
Shiftry and Lining are new.
Wait, no. So the Shiftry, I think he traded the Shiftry.
Oh, he dropped the Shiftry?
I think he dropped the Shiftry for the
Oh, right, yeah. Shiftry's now gone for Skuntank.
for the tank, for the Rabombis, the captain of their last season Mono Poison team, the Scun tank. Maybe he just wants more. Maybe he's just fearing these fairy types a lot, and he just needs more weapons to deal with it.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's been pretty much relying on Drapion a lot so far.
Yeah, and it has the Drapion has put in some work. Maybe it hasn't been as good as the Rabombis have wanted it to be, but I think it has been pretty nice with that Scopeland set or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I think like the reason they are where they are this week is because they got shut out pretty badly by the Wailords. But they're obviously still a massive threat in this league, and 2-2 is nothing. Like we've got a lot of 3-1 and 2-2s now, so definitely still in the mix, especially in our division playoffs. Like people are just waiting for me and you to lose now.
Yeah, exactly. Like this, you could easily swing. This is the point of the season where, I mean, you're definitely not out of. You definitely have a big chance to make playoffs. It being 2-2, like you're still in a pretty good position. I mean, you're even, and I don't know. Yeah, you're just waiting for some of these 3-1 teams to lose, and then 2-2, you got to win. You're right up there with them.
Yeah.
So
and only -1 as well.
Yeah. Well, -1, not a bad differential. I mean, I guess if he's even, he could be +1, or 0. But
yeah.
But he did have a really hard matchup this week and got 2-0'd. So unfortunate for the Bombays. He knew he had a hard matchup, but yeah, we'll see. It's always exciting watching his games. Number 14. The Welsh Wailords themselves. The Wailords themselves and the scary Tapu Fini. This team is so well balanced, in my opinion. They made some trades too, didn't they?
Yeah. I got that here. They dropped the Morpeko and the Darmanitan for Rapidash and Raichu. So it's kind of like they just upgraded the Morpeko to Raichu and downgraded Darmanitan to Rapidash.
Yeah,
which I'm not even sure is a downgrade.
Yeah, I think it's different. Definitely not that the Rapidash doesn't have the same damage output that the Darmanitan has.
Yeah. But it's a little bit faster, a little bit bulkier.
Yeah, maybe I think it's, and I think if you do see it as a downgrade, then I think the upgrade to the Raichu is it's a
lot bigger.
Yeah, it's bigger. So, and that's frustrating to deal with. It's really going to be really nice for the Crobat, really nice for the Fini, not relying on that Steelix switch in to take all those electric moves. Although he does have the Skip Tile, but still, just another tool that's going to be
Trampa. But yeah.
Yeah, true. Dragon Grandpa. Yeah, I really like this team, and the only thing I don't like about it is that I'm facing it this week.
Yeah, I mean, they're 2-2, but their 2 losses are against like 2 of the more highly rated teams at the moment. So,
yeah,
I don't think they ought to be like worrying about their season right now.
I would agree. I think this is definitely a team that you have to play really well to beat, and if you don't, they're just gonna get a win out. They're just gonna beat you. So, they could easily close out the season with a winning record, I think. Yep. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. Alrighty. Number 13, Royal Kingdras. Big win this week. Yeah,
they've had a little surge lately of good games.
They have had a surge, and it looks like they made a trade as well.
The Marshtomp?
I think the Marshtomp. Wait, did they always have the Uxie, or was that?
Oh no, and they've also. They had Pincurchin, which they dropped for Jolteon.
Ah, that's right. You got a little more speed on the team.
It was Vulpix or Lola that they've dropped from Archtomp.
And that discharge next to that lander sounds like a nightmare. So
Dropping the potential Hell mode though for Bertic, but then it gets Swift Swim as well, doesn't it? Of course,
it does. So maybe they're going
with
to utilize
Pelipper.
that. Um, and I don't think the hail, because to run the hail mode, you kind of had to use the Vulpix, which you really don't want to bring, and they probably realized that,
No,
and they weren't. I don't think they were using it very much. So I like the drop. I think Beartick, as well as Arctivish, the Slush Rush users, I like them in Series 10 a little more because it's awkward using someone like Arctivish or Beartick where like you get Swift Swim in the rain and then you want to go for water moves, but if you go for like a max hailstorm, then you're changing the
you're
weather. You don't
changing
get
your
a
own
speed
weather. Yeah.
control. Whereas in Series 10, you don't have to worry about that. So, um, yeah, I like that. I like that adjustment from this team, and they're already looking good. And maybe the adjustments will make them even better. So maybe they're a huge threat. Oh, I don't know. All right,
Into the top half of the teams now.
right. Um,
Somerville Scraggies, they haven't made any changes, I don't think. But 2-2, some impressive wins so far.
yeah.
Who have they lost to?
They lost to Rabombis,
Oh, right. Yeah.
and then I don't know who else they lost to because they beat Otto and they beat Dan, I think. Yeah, this week. Yeah, who else did they lose to?
I think it was their week 1 game that they lost. I can't remember who it was, though. Anyway, they're doing all right. They're doing well. 2-2.
Yep, they're doing well. The Somerville Stoutlands doing great.
Those Dolphins.
Uh,
They lost to Theo week 1.
okay. And Theo's been well. We can talk about his team later, but
Yeah.
he's been good. Number 11, moving even higher up. Okay, so the Bolton Bashers, one of the more dominant teams in the VDL. I was gonna say NFL in the VDL. They're 2-2, which is probably the worst start they've had in the VDL. Up to date, but still a really threatening team, really strong team. I don't think they have a great matchup going into week 5, which they don't want to see because obviously being 2-2, you really want that win. You really want that
Yeah.
3-2 record. So we'll see what they can do. I just think, but I think Goomer's had really close games, which is not surprising. And I think he's just maybe like the matches he's lost against, like he lost against the Kingdras where he brought the Orbeetle set to counter the
Register.
Registeel, but it just kind of got timed out and he didn't really think about that aspect of the strategy. And then this week he went for it all in that game 3 with the Sucker Punch, and unfortunately it was a bulky Chandelure, and he literally just coin flipped it for the win, and didn't end up getting the kill. So some unfortunate losses. Definitely a tough competitor though.
Have we seen the Hydreigon come out yet?
I don't know if we have.
Be interested to see him utilize that.
Yeah, I don't know if we have. It's hard when I know dealing with the fairy types, obviously,
Yeah.
and I think this week he's going against a Comfey, which is like horrible to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nightmare.
Priority fairy types. I mean, he doesn't actually have like the strongest counters to fairy types either. Like Dugtrio and say like Frel isn't the strongest thing that can like just hold off the fairies while you let Hydreigon do its thing. So
Yeah,
that is something to think about.
yeah, exactly. Like you can't really switch it into much. Even if you're taking like a fairy move, you're still taking a lot because you're Dugtrio,
Yeah.
and then its Iron Heads they're not going to completely blow you up. So yeah,
Like his fairy switch-ins are the Dugtrio and the Heatmore.
yeah, which you don't really want to utilize as switch-ins. That's a good point. And it kind of the fairy also threatens the Zapdos, but I don't know if anyone can get around a weirdo match.
I'm sure Groomer can do it, yeah.
Yeah, he's got the tools and the capability to do it. We'll have to see. But sitting here 11 because he's 2-2. So, yeah, number 10. South Cordon Source. Speaking of the matchup for Goomer, this is his matchup, and the Cordon Source have been really, really good. I know we have them at 2-1 here. I think
They're actually 3-1, aren't they?
yeah, they are 3-1. But yeah, they're looking good, and they have just a really scary team with like all the speed control and offense they can put up front. And then
Yeah.
I really like how they've utilized the Comfey Wishy Washy combo. So I know we've said that they kind of have a weird team that is like they have like these combos that
Fake sun modes.
yeah, it's like a fake sun mode, and then um, they can do the unburdened psychic train stuff, but
Pheromosa, he's been using the Pheromosa really well. Obviously, with the speed pressure that it applies, um, he's been using it more support than offensively.
yeah, I really like it. I really like it. I would agree. He's using the Pheromosa really well, and it's making me believe that it's a really strong Pokemon in Series 10. Or maybe it's just the team that he drafted because, like, obviously Indeedee really doesn't want to see those dark types. But when you got a Pheromosa, it's harder to utilize a dark type against that mon. So,
But then he's got the Comfey, which pressures the dark types.
yep.
But then you can't use. Can you use triage stuff with the terrain?
I don't think so.
No. So
So it's,
yeah,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, that's kind of hard to deal with. But, I don't know. He seemed to utilize both those, all these modes well. So I don't really know this player very well, but it seems like they know what they're doing.
I've played with Grizzle in the most recent season of UGA. He's a strong player. Did really well.
Well, he's doing,
So yeah, I expect him to do well.
yeah, and it seems like he is. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Going into the later weeks of the season. Number 9, the MK Mimikyus.
This is another team who I played with in the UJ last season. I gotta say, I've been far more impressed with them here in VDL in an S10 format than in a Max format. They've been showing some tech and playing really well, I think.
Yeah, what I'm noticing is they're not afraid to bring tech like the Salic Barrier with the Chandelure. They're not afraid to bring me sets that are a little more surprising but still really useful. And then they're not afraid to make reads. They're not afraid to predict what their opponent will go for and try to make a read, which I like because it's much easier playing against someone when you know what the optimal play for them is and you can just predict what they're going to do. But it's hard to predict this player, which makes them just tough to go against. And they've got a really nice tailwind mode and offensive team, but at the same time, they have this hip on top, which can be really annoying defensively, as well as, they've done the screen Starmie stuff. I don't know if we've seen the Porygon yet, but that can actually be decently bulky. Yeah, I think
The
that
new addition of Stone Journer as well, added to their power.
Stony J, yeah, that might just enhance their offense, kind of their hyper offense strategy even more. So,
Oh wait, I don't know if that is a new addition or if we already had that. I think someone traded for it in Serenshal actually. Yeah, he's always had that.
oh, well, still really good on the team. I think the Chandelure and Whimsicott is just something that's really hard to deal with up front. If your opponent leads a fake out user, he knows that can only go into the Whimsicott and he can play around that. They have to respect the Tailwind with the Chandelure because it could run something like Specs and just absolutely murder you. Or it could run Weakness Policy and murder you as well. So I think it's something
Very
to
murderous
respect.
Chandelier.
Very, very murderous. Just look in his eyes. You can tell they're murderous. I love that Pokemon. Okay, let's go to number 8. The Pogging Porygons. Previously undefeated, but they went down this week. They got taken down, but they're still sitting up here at number 8.
Yeah. They got a super strong team. I think, like, not so much hyper offense, but like Cinderace with and Bulu alongside Togetic. It's just redirection and fire off attacks with the Magnezone and the Lycanroc as well, really.
Yeah. I mean, really, all their Pokemon on their team are. I like their team because they have 11 viable Pokemon for sure. I mean, he's used the Lanoon to kind of annihilate.
Yeah.
And then he's got that super strong core, like you said. I mean, we've seen him bust out the Marowak's put in a lot of work. We've seen the Poltergeist do a lot of work. He's utilizing these lower tier mons really well. So yeah, I think they deserve to be up here for sure.
Yep, agreed.
And their only loss is to one of the top ranked teams. So Respect to how they're playing. Number 7. So, well, speaking of their only loss, it was to the Blazikins, who are number 7. So, and I think the Blazikins, you could make this is where we get to the hard part. I don't know if you agree, Gurt, but the hard part of the tier list where really a lot of these 301 teams could be argued to be higher or lower than they are ranked. Like the Blazikins could easily be like number 3, number 4, potentially.
Yeah, I think I put them like definitely higher than this.
And I think it's because they have a really strong team. They made a trade, didn't they? Yeah, they traded for the Glaring Articuno. Who'd they trade away? I'm trying to think. I don't know. I think they said they weren't.
They made 2 trades. They dropped Buzzwole and Zatu for Articuno and Pincer.
That's interesting. Yeah. So they drop a bug for a bug, but they get essentially a Zatu 2.0, which is their Articuno, which gets the Tailwind and the Trick Room just as Zatu does, but it's going to be a lot more powerful, a lot more threatening, better ability in my opinion. So I like that trade for the Blazikins because they've been a team where like they do seem like a top-heavy team, which personally I don't like to draft like that, but like they just utilize like kind of their top 5 or 6 mons over and over again. But it's so strong. It's such a strong core that it doesn't matter. They can do that. And I think they're going to play into that even more with this Articuno now. It's just going to be really hard to go up against those. Like, if you just... Like, they could bring Clefable, Entei, Rotom, Blastoise, Articuno, and Duraludon every single week, and it'd be so difficult to get through.
Yeah.
So...
I'm not sure they have brought anything else, or I've not seen them using... Like, the Pilot's One of the Quillfish, certainly not.
Actually, I think you're right. I think they've only literally brought in 5 monster matches. We could look into that, but I think you're right.
I probably have a quick look right now. Where are we? Brisbane Blazikins. So the Quillfish hasn't played any games. The Pilot's One hasn't played any games.
They have brought the
Berserker
Buzzwole.
hasn't played any games.
They did bring the Buzzwole.
Yeah, it's treated that way now, haven't they? Yeah. This site's so annoying. You can't see everything in one hit.
Yep.
Something else. Oh, right. Articuno, obviously, then you just traded that. Yeah, everything else has come, actually. The Morgrum's come to 1 game. But yeah.
Okay, so it's close. But, I mean, we keep talking about it, just how strong their top-tier core is, and it's put in so much work. So, yeah, number 7. Could be argued for higher, but, yeah, there's just a lot of good teams up here. So let's move on to number 6. My team. I think, personally, I rank myself a little lower just because I am 3-1. I have a nice differential with +4, but I felt like this week's match was a little weird. Like, I felt I lost game 2 because I just gave it away, and that was a really bad move on my part, like completely my fault. And then I kind of got outplayed game 3, but Masenko just goofed it up with the not going for the Thunderbolt, and I got really lucky because I think it was a roll as well. So I got really lucky to pull away at the game 3, which maybe I didn't deserve to. So I don't know how satisfying the win was, but nevertheless, I am 3-1. I don't know. I don't have much more to say about my team.
Yeah, I think. I mean, yeah, the win this week wasn't as clean as maybe you wanted, but I do think your only loss of the season was such a super tight timer loss. So I think there is an argument to be made for you to be higher than this as well. To be fair,
I guess I don't think.
But it's all very tight.
I'm my own biggest critic, so. But yeah, I guess it's a valuable point. But I'm happy to be sitting here at 6. I think I was 6 last week, and yeah, I'm happy to be up here. Not excited to go against Tapu Fini this week, but yeah, we'll get to that later.
Nobody ever is.
That's true. There's never been one person except for Batista. Or Batista talked about this. He had the Mono Poison team last season, which is debatably the best weapon against Afini, and he lost to that team last season because they didn't even use Tapu Fini. So, yeah, it's always scary. All right, number 5 is
it's me. Nice.
You.
Yeah, I mean, I think I peaked in like my VDL career last week at, I think I was number 2. I might have been number 3. I can't remember. But that was definitely the highest I think I've ever been and ever will be. And taking the loss this week to a 0-3 team, even though like we know Sam's a good player, finalist last season, but yeah, taking that loss brings me down to 5, which I'm still happy with, very happy with. Like I had like genuine fears about going 0-8 this season, so 3-1 at the halfway point, I am very, very happy with.
I just,
yeah,
I just can't believe your team was ranked 20th at the beginning of the season. Like, I guess it's a little strange. I don't know, but the Skarmory has just been a monster. I love that because that was my favorite Pokemon in Gen 2 when I was a kid, and playing the Silver version, and like it's not supposed to be a very good Pokemon, and it's a tier 5, but you're just absolutely dominating with it. It looked like you're playing with it like it's a tier 3 or tier 2. Or even higher. Like it's kind of insane, and I didn't even know Skarmory had that kind of capability. Like I knew it had body press stuff, but I didn't realize how useful it would be, and you're using it super well. And we've made other comments on your team. I mean, I think it's just a really strong, really balanced team that's really annoying to prep for because you have bulk, you've got intimidate, you've got Skarmory set up, you've got other setup, you've got storm drain, you've got high powered offense, you've got spread, you've got fake out. Yeah. I think it's well deserving to be up here, and I'd be scared to play it because, well, I think we will face off later in the season, but I just felt like last season you didn't enter, and then you took over someone's team, and I remember you saying that you were like really excited to get back into. You're like really regretting not playing last season, so you loved hopping back into it, and then you like beat a couple of undefeated teams and were looking really hot, and I think you're still carrying on that. Like it seems like the momentum is still here, and you were like still looking like it's the dominant force. So,
well, good. I'm glad that's how it looks. But yeah, I think this team is kind of like almost a little bit goofy, but like there's a lot of ones you don't expect to do the work that will be doing work, and that's the power of the team. I think. Like Prim, everyone expects Prim to do well, but then like you think about Credilli and Galvantula and like Toxapex, like no one kind of really knows what to expect from them. So, yeah.
I agree. Like you could, like, are they going to be Scarf? Are they going to be offensive? Are they going to be supportive? Are they like I don't? Are they even coming? Like those are.
Yeah.
Yeah, scary team. Number 5, and then so I guess we're moving on to number 4, which is the Trixie Tricos. I think this is where I placed them this week. I still think Otto's. I think Otto's looking really, really good. He just seems to have. His game plans just are always super solid, and he seems to know how to prep to give himself an advantage in every matchup. And I think the only week he lost 2-1, and there was
kind of hacks fueled.
There was some hacks, yeah, in there, and so I guess give him the benefit of the doubt. I think if things were differently, it could be 4-0. 3-1 record's really, really good, and Otto's just always scary to go against.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I do just find it unbelievable how he has the like perfect sets to counter what his opponent brings, and he knows like every week like the Clear Smog Golduck to stop the setup Finny from Matrix, because he played 2 games quite close together because their week 3 was extended, and then he played his week 4 pretty soon after. So there's been 2 games since I think we last talked about Otto on the PRs.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the stuff like that just always impresses me from Otto.
Yeah, just some tech that like he brings some crazy counter strategy tech, and it works, and it's not like it's not useless. Like he counter preps really, really well. I swear he's got like people all over the world like meeting someone in an alley like with a trench coat, and he's like, what are they prepping for this week? And then he's got inside information, spreading it to him. That's how he knows. It's got to be that.
Last bit.
It's the only explanation, really. Number 3, the Beantown Binacles. This was sort of a tough team to rank because I would say these top 4 teams are, I guess you could say that debatably the top 4, or undebatably the top 4. I think that, in my opinion, these top 4 teams are the strongest 4. You might be able to reorder them in a different order, but I think, well, so spoiler alert, the next 2 teams are undefeated. But I think the Binacles and Otto, they're both 3-1 with really, really close losses.
Yeah.
And they've just been displaying a lot of good play. And I think, and like I said, even without that Glaceon misclick, with the switch out, I think he could have beat Gumi, and he could be 4-0 right now. So I think, his team definitely deserves to be up here, and is I know I voted it as the strongest 3-1 team.
I think I did as well.
Looking really strong. And as usual, I freaking love the thumbnails. Like the thumbnails and the freaking Pokemon sprites, I just die every time. I know they're coming. And I just love it. Like just seeing a create like VDL matchup thumbnail, and it's like Torpedo versus Barney. Like just love it. I just love it. Anyway, I guess we can move on to number 2. Georgia Gurchins, one of our 2 undefeated teams. Looking very strong.
Yeah, I like how the Grecians have been playing. They've been showing some like pretty cool tech, like with the discharge special Rhyperior last week, and then the Solar Beam Porygon next to Heat Sunny Day Zapdos this week. Like I like what they're doing.
Yeah, they're utilizing. I think I said this about the discharge tech, is that it's one thing to bring sort of a surprising tech, but it's another thing to bring it and to use it really effectively. Not only to throw your opponent off, but to do damage or to really put yourself in good position. I think it's what they've done that really well. The Gurchins,
and they did it against that was last week where they played Ems and they were both 3-0, so it was quite like a big game, and they're bringing some spicy tech like that.
Yeah, and they've had they've had some like that's not an easy team to beat. Ems is definitely not an easy team to beat. So. And the Gurchins were previously in the VDL, right? Like season 1 or 2?
Way back in the first season that I joined the VDL, it was season 2. Gurchins were in it with me and Taco and Ted, I think, are the only ones that are still in the server. But yeah, and then disappeared and came back now, like 4 seasons later.
Did they win it?
No. Galopsy won that season. They made playoffs, I think. Yeah, they were in playoffs. I seem to remember because quarterfinals they were knocked out by Mega Umbreon.
Okay.
And then they went on to knock me out in the semifinals. So that's just how I remember where the Gurchins finished.
Gotcha. I know they were previously in the VDL, and I heard they were really strong. So, heard they're a very strong player previously. So, it's been interesting for me to observe them playing in this season. This is the first time I'm seeing them play. So, pretty cool. They look pretty good.
Yep.
So our number 1 team is the snackiest team, the Rolled Gold Pretzels, and also the sharkiest team, and the Torn Chompiest team.
Yep. Shargarnado.
Shargarnado.
Hashtag Shargarnado.
He's found the key. The Pretzels. The Pretzels thought they had a super combo with the Garchomp and the Tornadus. But what they didn't realize is they needed one more little shark to complete the perfect combo, the perfect storm, the Shargarnado. Yeah, I don't know. It's they're number 1 last week, and I guess you could argue another team should be number 1, and they might not be number 1, but they've just looked really good.
They beat a top 3 team this week, so
yeah, they beat a top.
I think whoever won that match was going to be number 1 this week.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. And I think they played the matchup well, and they utilized one of their lower tiers, Sharpedo, really effectively. I feel like they're approaching the matchups really well, and the Torn Chomp is really strong. Yeah, 4-0, they've got the best differential in the league. Just really, really well done.
Yep.
So I think that's it. I think we got the next slide. Yes, this was updated. So we have all the teams, all the logos. If you want to see the pretty display of 24 teams, so want to check out where you are on the screen. But I think that's pretty much all we got. We have some cool logos this season. But I think that's all we got.
Yeah.
Well,
thanks for having me on. I was sure I was going to get myself free enough to get on one of these, but I'm super glad that I managed to do it this week.
I'm very glad. I like hearing your insight, and I like when you used to do the PRs. I always enjoyed them, so I'm glad we could find like a time where you could do it instead of doing it like when it's like 3 a.m. your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for joining, and thanks for anyone who watched, and good luck to everybody in week 5.
See ya.
See ya.